guys, today I want to wrap up the month of August and share with you everything that I read, and then at the very end, very quickly, I will share with you what I plan to read this month in September. So the first book that I read was I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I read this when Jake and I went to Oklahoma, and I read it in the hotel room in just a couple days, and it was fantastic. I have a full written out book review and discussion, like spoilers included, where I talk about this book. It was one of my favorite books of the year, one of my favorite contemporaries of all time, but it was just as good as I had hoped, and I wish that I hadn't have put it off for so long. I was afraid that I wouldn't like it as much as all my friends, and they kept talking about it, and it was so hyped up in my head, and it totally was worth all 5 stars. It was fantastic. I will link my review below if you want to hear more about it and everything, but it's basically about 2 twins, Jude and Noah, and some of the chapters are from Noah's perspective when the twins are younger, and then Jude's perspective is when they're older and they're in high school. And they're both artists, but they're very different. Noah draws, and Jude is more into sculpting and things. The family dynamic is very heart-wrenching, and you can see there's kind of some favoritism there. Just coming out and coming of age and first love and just friendship. But it was mainly, I love just the twins' relationship, and it just, this book ripped my heart out, but I loved it, and I highly recommend it. Then, finally, it was time. I talked about this last month. I finally read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, and this is a book I've had since it came out, and I just kept putting it off because I knew that I would be rereading this series, and I guess I just kind of wanted to read this right before I reread the rest of the series because I knew Queen of Shadows was coming out September 1st. So anyways, finally read it. It was fantastic. 5 out of 5 stars. Loved it. I loved looking back at Celaena's life because this takes place before Throne of Glass. I think that you could still read this before Throne of Glass. I feel like you could pick this up and just start reading it without reading the others. But I personally think that you should read at least the first book first. I just felt like when I read Throne of Glass that it's hard to explain, but I feel like that's a better introduction to Celaena's character rather than this. Some of you may not agree with me on that, but I just feel like that. So I'm glad that I waited to read this. For those of you that haven't started the series yet, and I recommend that you do, it's up to you if you want to start with this or Throne of Glass. And then from there, I just continued to reread the series. I reread Throne of Glass, and I have a book discussion up over this. It's really old. I honestly now wish that I probably would have redone it because I didn't realize it was close to 2 years old, and I feel like it just wasn't the best, but I have one, so if you want to check that out, I'll link it below. It's a discussion, but yeah, it was just as good, if not better, the second time around. I did notice and pick up on a few more things the second time around that I missed the first time. So yeah, it was really fun to reread this. And then I reread Crown of Midnight, and same thing. I did notice a few things that I think I had forgotten or missed, and it was still just as fantastic and still super fast-paced and awesome. And then we get to Heir of Fire, and I've just determined this is my favorite of the series. It's just my favorite. It really is. It's a lot slower paced, but I just love it. I love it. I really do. I'm not going to say anything about this book because it is book 3 of a series. However, I am planning on having a full book talk, full discussion up, and just the next few days. I just realized that I had never done a discussion video, and it's just crazy considering this is my favorite of one of my favorite series. I've got to do it. So I'm going to do that. It'll be up in the next few days. But I will talk more about why I love this book so much in that video, so stay tuned for that. And I think that's it, right? If you want to be super technical, I actually got this on my Kindle before September 1st. So it was 11 p.m. on August 31st. So I did start this. Throne of Glass was the book of the month for my Goodreads group. This is the book for September, so if you want to join in, there's discussion topics and everything like that. But yeah, I think that's it. So for September, I had just planned on reading this book, which I did, and it was fantastic, and it deserves all of the stars. All of the stars. I am also going to have a book talk up of this, a full discussion, and that I will upload probably the day after I upload Heir of Fire. It's probably going to be long. I'm going to try my best to edit it down a bit. But yeah, there's a lot that I want to talk about, and it's going to be tough, but I'll try and condense. I recently decided that I really need to make a change with my review copies and stuff, and I just have so many old review books that I still haven't gotten to, but yet I'm still taking in new review copies. And so at the moment, if you go to like my blog, it says that I'm not accepting any more review copies, so I turn them down whenever I'm emailed about them. However, like with Penguin and stuff, I'm just like sent books. So that's why I'm still getting new review books. I've decided recently that I need to make a change, and at least once a month I need to choose like an old review book and like a new review book that I need to read, as well as, of course, a couple books that I just want to read for fun. So my old book is that I want to finish this book. It's The Glass Sentence by S.E. Grove. I just talked about this in my most recent book haul, so I can link that below if you missed it. But yeah, I started this. It was sent by Penguin, and I really enjoyed it. Never finished it. So this counts as my old review copy. And then I was just recently sent book 2, which is The Golden Specific, and this will count as my new review book. And so I'm really excited to read these. I'm hoping that once all of my book discussions and everything is up for the Throne of Glass series, then I can move on to these. So, considering it's only September 4th, and I've already finished Queen of Shadows, and I just have these 2 books, I think that besides that, I might maybe finally read, start the Outlander series. I said that I have it on my Kindle, like I think I have 7. I know there's more than 7, but I think I have 7 on my Kindle. At the same time, though, I might end up choosing like to read one contemporary book first, just because I try not to read too many fantasy like series in a row, and with me just having read the Throne of Glass series and stuff, yeah, so I might kind of break it up a bit and pick one of my standalone contemporary books. But we'll just see. So that's what I plan on reading in September. Let me know if you have read any of these books that I've mentioned, maybe what you plan on reading in September. Maybe tell me what your favorite book of August was. I want to hear your guys' favorites. Let me know if you're currently reading Queen of Shadows or if you have just finished it. Like, I know a lot of people are already starting to finish it, like me. And stay tuned for my book discussion, because that will be up soon. I love you guys. I will see you next time in my next video. Bye!